Hey guys, so I'm trying this again. Yesterday, I sat with this little GoPro thing, and well, I didn't sit, I drove and walked all over and tried to capture things. And when I got back to my house, I realized that nothing had converted to the card. This is my house. A tree was knocked over in the rain. It pulled up this walkway and then took down the tree on the other side of it. But that's the only damage, really. The water, if you remember, was up to about the top of the white brick there. It is a day of cleanup in the neighborhood. All of this was flooded back here. You can see by all the leaves. Our backyard was underwater. The water was actually up to my step. That was all underwater. And if you see this little, what do you call this thing, a little trolley? The water was actually up to here. Any indication. So I'm going to walk around Old Town. I'm going to stop this here now and continue walking around Old Town and show you some stuff, which is what I tried to do yesterday. Hopefully we'll get it on film today. Being quiet while I walk by people. It's interesting because when I walk in the moat, it's as if the water's still there. I can hear and smell the water. I can see the creatures that are in the water. I can hear what the water has to say. What's interesting is you can see the tide line out there. So I'm here at the Castillo San Marcos where there is water in the moat. Normally that's grass that you can walk on. There's water in the moat from the storm. I have been seeing in my remote viewing visions water filling the moat again. There being a big, very damaging storm that filled the moat with water that would result in a biomagnetic change to the silicate in all that cocaina. Because I have been told, shown, whatever you want to understand or believe or whatever you want to call it, by whoever talks to me, whatever you want to call them. To me, they are cryptid. To me, they are of the Sasquatch. Have told me that one of the things that's going to happen is some of the ancient technologies that are trapped in the silicate in all these old structures is going to be awakened to assist us. Think of releasing Akashic records. Well, silicate is alive. Crystals are alive. Carbon is alive. Those stones are alive. They have memory in the silica. The memory exists in the silica. This was a very big, very frequency altering biodynamic storm. And what you're seeing is what I've been seeing for months, except I saw it higher. I saw the water much higher. My friend actually swam in here yesterday when it was higher. Doesn't look like it came over this moat wall here. If it did, you'd see cane. But that wall is 5 or 6 feet tall. It would hold a lot of water. And of course, the water not only served as a protection, as a moat, but it was also part of the hydrogen activating aspect of the free energy. I'm turning the camera away from people. And if you are one of those that hold that not only were these energy generators, but they were also essentially sewer systems, the water here is necessary to move waste so that it can be changed. That's Old Town right there, a lot of which is closed. They had thigh to waist high water. Place where I used to work would have had waist high water. I'm sad to say this, but I honestly would be surprised if she's able to open back up, because I know how expensive the equipment is in her place. And sometimes insurance will tell you, we'll pay you out to close it. We'll pay you out, but we're not going to insure you anymore. Sometimes that happens. So this is marvelous. I'm seeing something that I have been seeing in my imagery for some time. It's all grass, and you can walk all the way around it. It's interesting when the water does go down, because being quiet while I walk by people. It's interesting because when I walk in the moat, it's as if the water's still there. I can hear and smell the water. I can see the creatures that are in the water. I can hear what the water has to say. What's interesting is you can see the tide line out there. And that's the Bridge of Lions. Bridge of Lions. This is not usually quite so sandy. This was all flooded, obviously. But you can see the tide line out there, because straight out that cut, straight out, that's the Atlantic. I'm going to walk you on the seawall up to the Bridge of Lions, because during the storm there was a boat that broke free of its mooring, and it crashed into the shore, and it will stay there until the owner claims it. I don't know how that works you have a certain amount of time to claim your boat, and then the city just salvages it and wrecks it. Now, I can tell you the water, even at high tide, is never this high. There are plates of coquina down here that you would normally be able to see. Along, this is the new seawall. I believe this is the third seawall. The original seawall looked like it did back there at the fort. Ancient, ancient, ancient. As old as the fort. And guys, the fort is older than they tell us. Don't even argue with me. And the seawall is too. Any seawalls that have been built have just been reinforced on what was already done here originally. Now I think you can see up ahead that sailboat is still in the water. You see there are a lot of buoys out there, and normally people moor to those buoys. Of course, they've all left long ago, went to safer harbor. This boat, unfortunately, the water was breaking over the seawall here, and all of this was flooded. There were news people out there at the Hilton, on the steps of the Hilton, filming people that were walking through the water in thigh to waist high, depending on how tall people were, filming the flood waters. They were right there at the Hilton on the steps. So imagine, those SUVs over there. The water was almost, it was halfway up their doors, had those cars been there. And actually there were cars that were here, that had been left here, that were completely flooded, unfortunately. Everything's very murky, obviously. Everything has really been cleaned up here. This was a mess yesterday when I originally drove by. Absolute mess. They've come through and cleaned up the detritus. There's some remains of destruction. Oh, it looks like it broke off right here, actually. So, coming up on that boat, unfortunately, it's a nice boat that the owner is liable for. I don't think insurance pays for things like this. It was their responsibility to make sure that our boat was safely moored. And they did not. And that's a shame. I used to live on a sailboat, so I appreciate that it's not an inexpensive thing to lose.